up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Crazy Ant Farm. Oh, man, I love coming back to record this podcast. How's everybody doing today?
Yo.
Awesome. Good. Well, we're back to having a guest this week. We have the one and only Miss Diana Wright. That's going to be really fun to talk to her.
Good getting that one.
Yeah.
You actually got
I know,
right.
Thank you. I got a name right this time.
Diana Wright.
We're only booking guests that he can pronounce their names now.
Yeah, we should just... Yeah.
You got right.
Thank you.
I mean, at least you didn't pronounce the W.
Yeah.
There's that.
We're right.
Right. That's right, which is her Twitter handle and Instagram handle. Go follow her.
Twiddle.
Yes, leave it alone. And of course,
You got the name right, but Twitter.
Yeah, we have, of course, industry news, box office predictions, and we got to pick a word of the day today because our sound man is not here.
That's right.
We are sound man
I
list.
pick Twiddle.
Twiddle.
It rhymes with Skittles.
That's
It's his favorite food.
In fact, that's what
Twiddle's
it is.
the alternate
name
When
for
you
Twitter.
twiddle, it's when you're on Twitter while eating a Skittle.
There it is. That is your word of the day.
Hey, done.
Exactly. Check off the agenda list.
Some Urban Dictionary shit right
Yeah.
there.
Oh, man.
That's right.
Well, like I said, of course, box office predictions, industry news, and other shit.
Yeah.
Let's just dive into industry news. Want to?
What's happening?
It's time for some news, bitches. All right. After the podcast last week, news broke that Apple finally hit $1 trillion, guys, in stock value.
$1 trillion.
Where's
That
my free
is insane.
iPhone?
Yeah. Where's free iPhone? We need a new Mac. We need
That's right.
like all this
That's
stuff,
right.
man.
Yeah.
I feel
all of
like
it.
they could donate some.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
It's not bad.
Here's
They're doing all right.
Yeah, they're
first
fine.
of all, congratulations, Apple.
Yeah, Tim
You
Cook,
know?
you're awesome.
It's an amazing accomplishment. It's the first U.S. company to ever hit the $1 trillion mark.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing accomplishment. And here's the
But
scary
couldn't they make
part.
more?
Probably.
The crazy.
I mean,
part
that's
about
as
it-
good as they can do.
I know, right? It's $1 trillion in market cap value. But and here's the part that's just insane.
Right.
Over 300 billion of it, so nearly a third of it, cash.
Damn.
In cash on
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah.
It's probably
Yeah.
like gold bricks or
Like-
something.
Walking around money.
You know, like how
Like-
most companies say, well, we're worth this much, but it's basically they would have to liquidate. They'd have to sell off real estate. Or
Right.
they'd have to sell off, patents that
Yeah.
they own. No, they're worth $1 trillion, and a third of that, $300+ billion,
300
is cash.
plus, yeah, $300 billion pocket money. Just walking around money.
They've made the joke
Ugh.
countless times, even when Steve Jobs was still alive, that they literally have so much money they don't know what to buy.
Yeah.
They're like, what do we buy? I mean,
Exactly.
they're constantly being approached about things to buy, and they're like, well,
Yeah,
well,
they go to the strip club with about $1 million.
They're making
They
it
go to
rain.
They have a strip club.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
in the office.
That's right.
They own it.
Making it rain.
They're Wolf of
gold
Wall
bricks.
Street over there.
Oh my gosh,
That's a dangerous
Yeah. But yes,
scary
congratulations.
It's all white.
Apple.
Yeah, and hey, listen, why is that important? I mean, obviously because we're all fans of Apple,
Of course.
But and we could, hey Apple, just anytime you want to donate, equity investment in our company.
Little something.
Anyway, seriously though, they're wanting to become a major player in the industry, in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
They've made no bones about that. They're getting into the streaming service.
Yep.
They're getting into the film business. They want original content for television, and they have $1 trillion. I mean,
Exactly.
300 billion in cash. That's more than Disney. That's more than Netflix. That's more than any of the
Exactly.
studio. It's more than all of them combined. I mean, so if they're serious about it, I mean, they can
Exactly.
do whatever they want.
Basically.
I mean,
Oh, man.
so they're not. Nobody's going to outbid them if they want to buy a project.
Are they? Well, they're not the biggest in the world. Obviously, like oil companies probably make probably more than them, but they're not American based.
No, I don't think any other company at this point is worth more than $1 trillion
In the world?
in market cap value.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I thought because it was just in the United States.
No, they're the first U.S. company to do it.
Right.
And I'm not saying that another company has, but at this point, I think they're the only one to over the $1 trillion.
To hit that mark.
And apparently, I think Jeff Bezos just became the richest person in America. I mean,
in the world.
in the world, yeah, in the world,
By
yeah.
a landslide.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
and
like
Amazon
$100 billion
is
or
predicted
something
now,
like that.
Amazon, speaking of Bezos, is predicted to be the second company to go over the $1 trillion mark.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's approaching it quickly.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Apple won't be alone soon.
Hell yeah.
And Amazon's in that game too.
Exactly.
Amazon Studios, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. In fact, our guest today, successful with Amazon Studios early in her career. So,
Hell yeah.
we'll talk about that. But they got a shit ton of money too.
Yeah.
And so, all these other studios that are all merging and doing all these power moves.
We're gonna ask her like, so what do you think about Jeff
Yeah, what do you
Bezos?
think about this?
What do you think?
Getting $100 billion mark.
That's right. What do you think? Too
Oh,
much
man.
money?
Too much money, too less?
Have
You
you
can
gotten
use
any
more?
of that from?
Oh, goodness.
Why are you whispering? Why do
I
you
know.
feel
wait.
creepy?
I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
And all the girls or both girls. All the girls are quiet.
All two of us.
All two of us. All both of us.
They're like all of a
All
sudden
both
like,
of us.
where is
Don't
he going with
Where's
this?
don't turn into that. I'm just
All right.
And me and
so,
Tavia are gonna leave now, and
So Apple hits $1 trillion.
so Apple hits $1 trillion. And,
my voice is just low.
yeah.
Okay.
In other news, speaking of Apple, Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, basically all of these places took off InfoWars. Alex Jones got banned for hate speech, basically, against Muslims and transgender people. And they also
And
had a
frogs.
video. And frogs.
And frogs.
How are you going to disrespect the
In
frogs?
fact, that's what it really came
was
down
about the
to.
frogs.
Yeah, it was the
Turns
frogs.
the frogs gay.
It's like Kermit said, ditch that bitch. It ain't easy being green. We don't need a hater.
Oh,
Like-
my goodness.
I'm surprised. I really am surprised this hasn't happened sooner.
Yeah.
Like,
He's pretty
really?
reckless.
Yeah.
He's
Agreed.
really reckless.
Well, he is.
Except for Twitter,
Yeah.
who has said he is not in violation of
Yeah,
their terms of conduct
he's still on
policy,
Twitter.
and he's still up on Twitter.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So is
Yeah.
our president, though.
Yeah,
You know?
well, that's true.
Yeah.
Their CEO came out with a basically a statement defending it, saying he hasn't violated what our terms of service contract is, and we're not pulling him until he does.
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Which
there
might
you
be
go.
soon. You never know.
Might be.
Yeah. And another reason there was a video up that he posted that involved child endangerment. What the fuck, bro?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I know. What
do
does
you do?
that
I mean-
mean? I don't know.
Yeah, it's just.
That's the real news, though. You know,
Yeah.
everything else is fake news. Infowars is the real news.
Yeah. Info news is real news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just goes into. Let's just open up.
Chemtrails are making frogs gay or something, isn't it? It's something he said. Yeah, it's something he said.
Oh
something
my
like
gosh.
that. As Soundman knows, he's not here.
Soundman knows.
Our fact checker is not here
Yeah.
today. Like,
He's the one that told me.
They're telling what kind of false facts are going to be
That's
flying around
right.
unchecked.
Exactly. Oh
he's
my
gonna
goodness.
call in. He's gonna be like, "That's not true."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I
He's like,
just
"What?"
googled it. No.
He's the one. No, he's the one that told. It was like, well, go ahead. That's something he mentioned to
Yeah,
me. I
no.
didn't
That's
even like that.
hilarious.
But let's open it up to a broader, discussion because it was almost immediate that
Yeah.
he was taken down,
Right.
and it's just going to the same type stuff: the immediate removal of James Gunn, the immediate removal of Roseanne, and now, speaking of, because I want to kind of turn it, James Gunn just can't get out of the conversation here with Disney. As I'm sure all of our listeners saw. Because it was posted as like a group letter message from
Right.
the cast, have all defended him.
Yeah.
All kinds of people have come forward and defended him. And Dave Bautista, Drax, who's basically, said, if it ain't his script, I'm walking. I don't
Yeah.
care if I'm under contract or not. And, it's kind of putting Disney in a spot because... that's an extremely valuable franchise for Marvel and for Disney.
At least get one more movie out of it.
Right.
you know?
Well, that's just it, though. It's a trilogy. It was always intended to be a trilogy. This is the third movie.
Right.
How do you wipe his script out, wipe his cast out, basically, if 2 or 3 of them walk, bring in a new director and a new script with a new vision and try to finish a trilogy?
Right.
It's
Like,
not
what
a
the hell?
trilogy.
Exactly.
It would be great if any director that came on is just like, all right, I'm not doing this unless we're doing James Gunn's script.
Well, okay. Let's first of all, it's a tough spot for Disney because if they
Yeah.
take him back,
Is James Gunn's brother going to be in it?
I'm sure that's true. I don't know. No James Gunn, no Sean Gunn. I would
Right.
think. But or Roker.
Right.
He's not in it either, right? Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker? But
Yeah.
you were saying Roker. I was like,
yeah.
Al Roker's in this?
No. But my thing is that we've all seen what happens when Disney has been like, we're getting rid of him.
Yeah.
We're bringing these guys in. Anybody remember Solo at the box office?
Yeah.
Solo? Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
that
get
thing.
rid of the directors and bring in another director and try
Yeah.
to save this thing. Didn't work.
But they
so
brought
well.
in Ron Howard though.
And Ron Howard. So, what director?
But
are
was
you
the
thinking-
project already, already bad before he got there? I mean,
but that's my point. Ron Howard,
Couldn't
Academy
save it.
Award. Ron Howard couldn't save it. So, what director do you think is in the wings for Guardian of the Galaxy?
Right.
Going, no, I'll come in and if Ron Howard couldn't save an established franchise film, who's going to come in and want to jump on
Exactly.
Guardians and
Right.
try to do it? I think Disney.
Roger
is in a
that. Don't
bad-
hire Ron Howard for the Guardians of the
Yeah,
Galaxy.
Ron Howard's like, nope, pass. Has changed the number.
Yeah.
He changed his number. He's like Disney.
I'm moving to Alaska.
Oh my goodness.
But seriously, Disney is in a tough spot.
Yeah.
You don't move forward with James Gunn, you're pretty much in trouble.
Exactly.
If you bring James Gunn back, you're pretty much in trouble because nobody's going to buy that you're serious about removing
Exactly.
people that don't
Right.
go with your values or the morals of your company. So what does Disney
What the
do
fuck?
at this point?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Exactly.
There's rumors swirling around that they are going to ditch the script. However, Hollywood Reporter today said that they have it from an inside source that they are going to use his script and that he's in current negotiations for his exit from under contract.
Right.
And that apparently there are numerous studios that want him for their projects,
Right.
but can't approach him until he negotiates his exit from Disney officially.
So, like every other company that hires
Well,
him, it's like,
one of
you
them-
guys are assholes.
One of them adamantly said we would work with him in a heartbeat for whatever that he wanted to do, and you shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a crime to have an inappropriate sense of humor. That guy wished to remain anonymous.
Yeah.
I have a pretty good idea, probably what company that is, and I'm gonna not say it because I don't want to get myself in trouble.
I feel you,
but
I feel
I
you.
have a pretty good idea that there's
You'll
a
say it?
company
Who
out
is it?
there that seems to be in a little bit of back and forth
Yeah.
with the Mouse House, and we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
I'm betting it's them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like,
yeah, I
Yeah.
figured that
probably
was-
bring him on for any project he wants.
yeah,
I
exactly.
wouldn't have a problem at
All right, I got it.
But,
Yeah, I know
yeah.
what it is, yeah.
Just another dig against Disney, I would think. But
Exactly.
my idea, and we were talking about this earlier, and I think it's a good idea. People are gonna give me hate mail. I know it because James Gunn. How could you be? I'm just saying, if somebody were to hire him,
Yeah.
I'm not saying you should or shouldn't. Let's just leave that there. I'm not going to give my opinion on that. I'm saying
Yeah.
if somebody should hire him, I think it should be Warner Brothers, who is desperately trying to catch up in the superhero game
Yeah, absolutely.
with Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Warner Brothers should hire him for Green Lantern Corps because the Green Lantern Corps is basically Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
It's an Earth-based superhero.
They're the Guardians of the universe.
In like
Yeah.
a universal Guardian
Exactly.
Corps
Deals
of
with all the aliens
from all
and-
different sectors in the universe. It screams James Gunn.
Exactly.
He's proven he
Right.
can do an ensemble cast. He's proven he can do quirky, weird aliens from different areas
Yeah.
and make them
Right.
work and come together. He's the perfect choice to do the Green Lantern Corps and fix at least, beyond Wonder Woman, which was great. Get a solid, DC movie in there.
Right.
But
Warner
they
Brothers?
ain't bringing Ryan Reynolds on.
No,
no,
not
he's
again.
not
Ryan
coming
Reynolds,
on.
if you're
He's
listening,
fine.
he's probably agreeing. That's what you should do.
Yeah.
Bring James Gunn in. Have to do it. But so if Warner Brothers, if you're listening, that's my advice.
Yeah.
Once he gets cleaned up with Disney or whatever, give him a call. Bring him on Green Lantern Corps. Boom, you're good to
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Just a little
Win,
something,
win,
something.
win for everybody.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I won't be on the sidelines trying to play safe here. Hire the man. He's
Yeah.
just because he's got a bad sense of humor doesn't mean he needs to be out of a job.
Yeah.
A lot of us have bad sense of humors.
I agree with that. A lot of people do have a bad
Agreed.
sense of
Right.
humor.
Agreed. I just don't think Disney
Yeah.
should hire him again
Agreed.
or rehire. Because there's rumors now circulating that Disney's prepared to offer him another Marvel film.
Oh shit.
Like let this all pass and then
Yeah.
come back in and do it. There's another rumor that's going around. I don't think it's the right move for Disney.
Yeah.
You
You
a
hired the man-
You are a family valued core company.
Yeah.
You have been since the birth of it.
Yeah.
It's what you're known for. You made the right decision doing what you did. And you're right. His inappropriate sense of humor shouldn't keep him from working again in the industry. It's just not Disney that he should be working for. That way he gets to do what he gets to do and still be a brilliant filmmaker and be what he's supposed to be. And Disney gets to hold true to their core values of what the Mouse House represents
Exactly.
for families.
Here's something
Nobody
for Disney.
loses that.
Don't hire John Waters.
Oh my goodness.
If you haven't seen his work,
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, so there you go. Yeah.
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 Speaking of
Speaking of Marvel and Disney, Donald Glover's Deadpool. We talked about this a couple weeks back. The CEO of FX says that Marvel was behind shutting down the Deadpool series. What if that's because they want to use the Deadpool series on the Disney streaming service?
Right.
Ooh,
and yeah, he's
shit.
adamant that it wasn't FX that shut it down.
Yeah.
It was indeed Marvel that shut it down.
Yeah.
And then Iger this week, just yesterday on the shareholder conference call, indeed said that they plan on using the newly integrated Fox Marvel properties that they're getting back into the streaming service, which would scream that they wanted Deadpool for themselves on the Disney streaming service.
Exactly.
And so I think that that's probably what happened. I think the FX CEO is probably telling the truth.
Yeah.
Now, I think that a lot of Marvel
because
fans,
Deadpool doesn't have an awful sense of humor.
well, but that's just it, though. They get to keep it separate. It's kind of like what they did with Hollywood Pictures back in the day.
Yeah, I know.
Separate it from the Mouse House and kind of a thing. And I think that's what he hinted at that he was doing. Now, here's the thing that I think, because remember, all the fanboys were all like jonesing because they're getting the X-Men and the Fantastic Four and all of them back. And yeah, they're getting... Well, Iger sure made it kind of sound like that the properties that they're getting back from Fox would indeed be in the MCU, but he sure made it sound like they intend to put them on the streaming service and not necessarily integrate them into the movies.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Would you use Fantastic Four as a television show?
yes,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what
so.
we're
I
thinking.
think
that's
so too.
exactly what Joe.
It probably doesn't work that. I mean, it obviously doesn't work that well in the medium like motion pictures, but I think it would work really well as a television show.
Exactly. Take your
Wait,
time, develop
yes.
it. It just,
I mean, I just think it would be really expensive with special
but that's
effects.
okay.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah, probably
exactly
would.
what J-Lo and I were talking about earlier. It's like if you want it to be successful in film, fix what's not working. And to be able to do a 13-episode run with a good budget behind it, with the right cast behind it, 2, 3, 4 episodes in, your fans are going to tell you what's working and what isn't on a series. You can get it to the point where you can take those characters and put them into a film in the MCU, and they'll be okay.
Well, as a comic book reader, I mean, I'm reading like Fantastic Four. It reads more like a television show, and X-Men reads more like an event movie type thing.
Right. Exactly.
So,
and especially if it becomes a series, fans will let you know on social media because Dustin has a fan that is a huge fan, or Dustin has a friend that is a huge fan of Walking Dead, and he told me today that she just tweets along literally every episode during the show.
All right.
Here we go. It is time for our interview.
We have a guest.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
Diana Wright is calling.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, Diana.
Hello.
Yes.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so sorry to call so late.
Oh, no, it's no
good.
problem.
Fine.
We know you were in a
Fine.
meeting. It's this working woman in Hollywood
Right.
keeping us waiting.
Yeah. Okay, well, it's good talking to you.
Well, your time's up.
No.
Well,
It's always a good sign when a meeting lasts almost 2 hours.
oh yeah, no, that's a good thing,
Absolutely.
right? You didn't want to call us at like 12 o'clock and 30 seconds. That
Right.
wouldn't have been good.
No.
So
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, an hour would be good. I'll take an hour. But I was like, I looked at the clock and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, you're like,
that meeting went well.
yeah, exactly. Well, congratulations then.
Yeah,
I'm glad
definitely.
it was successful for you and that it went well.
Thank you.
And welcome officially inside the Crazy Ant Farm. We
Yes.
sure appreciate you coming on the show today and talking with us.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
of course.
absolutely. And so just to kind of give a little background about you for our listeners and everything, you are a comedy writer, producer, and director that's LA-based.
Yes, I am.
Yes, and wow, you know, looking over and kind of doing our research for the show, you've been on some pretty impressive stuff and continue to do some pretty impressive stuff. Writing for The Simpsons, Tapped Out, and the one that jumped out to me is Amazon. You know, one of the very first shows that went into development at Amazon Studios.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so that's right when they were doing their open submission policy, and so I submitted just through their open submission, and they picked it up and took the rights, and yeah, it was a great experience right there. It's just like right as they were figuring their own development slate out. So
Yeah.
it was fun to watch them from the beginning.
Yeah, definitely.
absolutely. And now seeing all the moves they're kind of making now and doing all the things they're doing now, it's got to be a good feeling to know you were kind of on the ground floor of that.
Yeah.
I mean, and a part of that. That's pretty awesome.
We'll fix it in
The one
post.
thing that jumped out at me that I found extremely funny and yet I had to ask about in your bio just real quick before we jump into the topic for today. You found comedy an interesting way to communicate with your loving yet socially inept parents. That's
Yeah, I read
that's
that too.
hilarious. I mean, that just jumped immediately out at me, and like that is a wonderful way to describe, yeah, you know, why you got into comedy. That's pretty funny.
Well, and very relatable too. I feel like most people's parents are
Yeah,
like that.
I mean, my dad is an astrophysicist, and my mom developed weapons for the government.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
They're very sciencey. They are incredibly intelligent.
You really
but,
had your work
they
cut
don't
out for
always
you.
communicate
Right.
in the best way.
Right.
And so growing up, they laugh. We could laugh together.
Yeah.
Couldn't always, and so that we were able to kind of build together. So I started making jokes and found that was a way that I could really communicate with my family, and kind of build the family that I was looking for through humor.
Nice.
Oop.
Oh.
You there?
Let me. I'm actually going to get in my car and see if I can drive to a better location.
Okay.
Sure.
This is the true LA way to do an interview in the.
Exactly.
Yeah, no problem.
As we know, there's no service out there.
We have the problem every time we're in LA. We can't get service, so we understand completely.
We have too many TV towers.
That's exactly
Oh,
it.
yeah,
You
good
know,
point.
that's okay. We have a crafty editor. Don't worry.
That's good.
Yeah, we'll put this thing together. Nobody'll know.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna literally just see where I can get full bars, and then I'm gonna pull over.
I feel
Awesome.
you. I feel you.
Well, again, thank you for such the effort to try to
Exactly.
make this happen. So that's awesome.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'm really excited about this panel, and it's gotten such a great response.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
To share it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it jumped right out. That's why definitely we wanted to have you on the show. We had done a series on our show a couple of months ago about the Me Too movement and the movement for women in film and diversity, and it did really well for us. And I think this is just a great expansion on the topic of working mothers in Hollywood and how what they have to go through and where it's at for people that are attempting to pull off the career and being a parent. I think it's a great topic.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Hollywood and movie making in general is all about telling life stories, and it's about those family moments. It's about the dynamics of and the struggles that we go through, and I think to ignore or to sideline the people that are going through that process on a day-to-day basis and have that real life experience is a detriment to Hollywood itself. And so it really means a lot to kind of, hey, let's make it easier for them to work in this space. Let's not sidelight them through things that really no longer need to be that way. Long hours in the writer's room and that kind of stuff. A lot of that is just what people think they have to do as a showrunner,
Right.
rather than what they can do. And so to make that choice and make it a little bit easier for everybody, it really helps out everybody.
Absolutely.
Whether
Definitely.
you are a mom or you're a dad, or you're not a dad, you're not a parent, and you just want to have a life.
Right,
Exactly.
exactly. Well, thank you, first of all, for bringing up dads, because I'm a single dad that had to try to balance a career and raise a daughter, and so thank you for dads.
Right.
Because I mean, we're doing mothers and working mothers in Hollywood, but you're right. It is for single parents of either sex, or like you said, even if you don't have kids, just somebody who wants to have a life, and I think that's a great way to put it.
And I certainly think that dads, just because, dads, I feel like dads are often sidelined too, whether you're a single dad or, part of a partnership, that gives you a chance to be more involved in your child's life. You don't have to be that absentee father that's,
Exactly.
you only see them once a week when you're awake. You can have that relationship with your kids, which I think would lead to healthier relationships all around. And,
Definitely.
we're dealing with a real crisis of masculinity and the Me Too movement, and I feel like a lot of that really stems from young men not having those positive role models around because they're working 60, 70 hours a week.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. That's
Makes complete sense.
Wow, I mean, you're really kind of doing a good job of spinning the topics into an area too, because it goes back to now the working mother, where I was raised. My father passed away, and I was raised by a single mom who had to work and balance this stuff, and so I feel like it gave me the advantages I need to have, like you said, having a positive role model when it came to start raising my daughter in that type of an environment. and I couldn't imagine if my mom wasn't able to find a way to balance that, how I would be as a parent. So I mean, I think you're exactly right with what's going on. So let's talk about the panel a little bit. You're co-producing it, correct?
Yes, I'm co-producing it with two other incredible women, Julia Prescott and Haley Mancini. They both work in the industry as well.
Very nice.
And now, is it just is it focused on the writers' room and working moms that are writers in Hollywood, or is it kind of going full range of different categories?
So we have a mix of writers and performers in the panel itself. So we have Tracy Wickfield, who most recently created Great News, which was on NBC for 2 seasons.
Awesome.
So she's a writer and show creator and was showrunner and was pregnant in her 2nd season. We have Yamara Taylor, who is a writer and was a single parent. And I knew her, and she was a single parent, in the up-and-coming comedy scene in general. And then we have Molly Hockey, and she is a comedian who is an actor, producer, and podcaster, and she's right now searching for a sperm donor. So she has a podcast called Spermcast.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
She's trying to find, a sperm donor through podcasting, which
There
I
you
think
go.
is a great way to go.
Yeah.
Sure, that's interesting, right?
Yeah. Completely different
What's the
approach.
screening process like?
So it's a choice.
Yeah.
And then we have Leslie Sina, who is a writer, actor, producer who doesn't want to have kids. And we're going to discuss a little bit about what it's like when you don't want to have kids.
Yeah.
Wow,
nice.
yeah, that's because I mean, you need that vantage point, you need that point of view for sure.
Well, I think that's a really tough for women. A lot of times you're told, if you're like, I don't want to have kids, I know I don't want to have kids, a lot of times people are like, just wait, you'll want them eventually. And that's a choice too, and that comes with its own struggles. So, so this panel, because it's our first one, we're going to see what response we get. We're getting a huge outreach from places like you guys. We've got the Alliance of Women Directors helping us support it. We have people reaching out wanting to be on future panels. So there's talk about trying to create a series of this and really talk about all the different ways that you can create a family.
Very
Oh,
nice.
I think that's really important because there's so much that says, like, for women that we often feel like we can't win. If you want to stay at home and focus on being a mom, then you're criticized for not being a career woman and not doing anything else with your life. And if you want to only have a career and not have a family, then you're criticized for being selfish and not wanting to provide grandchildren for your parents. There's so much back and forth where it sometimes feels like you can't win no matter what you want to do. And if you want to do both, then you're criticized for not having enough time for your family. It's hard. And I feel like it's important to address how that, affects everybody, including people in Hollywood.
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the only way we can really change that narrative is to start talking about it and talking about how we can be more friendly to families in general. And certainly, I think women are set up in a system where you cannot win. Whatever you do, you will be punished for it. So if that's the case and we can't win, then let's just try to change the game.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, and it takes people like yourself and panels like that you're doing to make that happen. And I mean, I think, and we all know how this industry can be. I mean, you can be blacklisted extremely quickly if you're not a popular character. And I think it takes courage to come out and try to make a difference and make changes in an industry that's not, liked to be changed, if you will. So kudos to you for that.
Absolutely.
And for everybody that you've got on board with you doing that. I think it's absolutely necessary, and it takes courageous people like yourself and your group of people to do that. So,
Hell yeah.
We're extremely happy to help you out in any way we can do that for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's just it's a chance to let's talk about this. Let's talk about this a little bit more.
Exactly.
I even think about the struggles of getting pregnant and all of those choices. I mean, one thing that I've enjoyed recently is I've seen just a huge amount of groundswell organization in terms of women's groups. I'm certainly involved in women's groups. I know there are other groups where they're saying like, hey, let's have a Facebook group. Let's have an email chain. Let's support. Let's share resources. Let's share the good times and the bad. And I've seen that really work in positive ways to change how this industry is. People, women sharing tips about how to negotiate for higher salaries, and sort of talk about that, or talk about how we can encourage people to be better allies, or how we can be better allies ourselves. I mean, I'm aware of my privilege as a white person, that I'm dealing with different struggles than any woman of color or person of color.
Right.
And so really to kind of educate ourselves and talk about those different struggles, I think will build a stronger Hollywood. And I think we're seeing it already with different storylines coming into play. Black Panther just crossed some huge milestone.
Hell yeah.
Right.
Just into wacky amount of money.
Yeah, I think it was the first film domestically to cross $700 million or something domestically.
Yeah, exactly. So there is this eagerness for different stories and different perspectives. And I think if Hollywood can kind of open up and change the way they operate on the day-to-day basis, you will start seeing those stories being told.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, okay. Let me just play devil's advocate and kind of see if there's any kind of pushback. Do you find so far in the people that you've talked to and the people that you've pulled together now, do you see some pushback maybe in the sense of, well, you want to be a working mom and you want to be treated and you want to have this and that and you're asking for more money, but then we're going to go ahead and give you this position or this responsibility and more money, and then you're going to ask for time off, or you're going to ask that you have to take this off, or you need to leave here to go get pregnant, or that? Are you finding any kind of caveman era pushback, if you will, or does it seem to be?
Yeah. I mean, I think that is an issue. I mean, we're dealing with TV shows right now have shorter and shorter seasons. They'll have smaller episode orders. They have smaller writers' rooms. And so if you are a writer working in a writer's room and all of a sudden you're asking for 8 weeks off, that can be tough when you're only working, 20 weeks or maybe just 12 weeks. I mean,
definitely.
That is a big change.
Yeah.
It's something that needs to be discussed. And so I do think that's tough in that way. However, we're talking about creating, continuing human life here. It's an important life thing that has to happen, and it's something that affects not only women but men too. And I do think there is a level of if we can push for that maternity leave, we can also push for that paternity leave too, and create healthier, happier families. We're living in a world where I'm talking to you in my car. I can access everything from my car.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
we're living in a world where we can change how that workplace looks. And I think it is that difference between going in and getting out. I spent time in writers' rooms where we spent half the day dicking around, shooting the shit.
Yeah.
That doesn't need to happen. Sometimes it's good to happen. Sometimes story breaks because of that.
Yeah.
You're talking about your day. But also, if you're spending all day and all night in the writers' rooms, you've got nothing to talk about because you've just been spending it with 12 smelly other people.
Exactly.
So I do think there is that pushback, and there's this great CNN article about women in Hollywood and mothers in Hollywood. If you talk about it, and you do hear people being friendly and unfriendly, and unfortunately, I think some of the worst people to deal with in Hollywood are sometimes the women, because they've fought so hard to get to the spot that they're in, that they are often kind of holding the other women to their standard.
Right.
Where we can really change the perspective of it. And so it's yes, I understand you worked at a time when things were really tough. Maybe you can make it a little easier for the next generation of people.
Right.
Instead of being well, I did it, so you have to do it too.
Right.
And I think too, like going back to what you were saying about respecting the time off and thinking about it as far as it's we're talking about creating another person here. People forget sometimes that the things that like that first few like months of a person's life are so important and can really change how that person is going to turn out for the rest of their lives. And people don't think about that. Like you being selfish and not wanting to let somebody have their time off that they need is going to impact, and if this is happening to multiple babies around the world, it's going to change the type of people that come out, and that are going to be in the workforce with everybody else eventually. They're going to grow up into adults, and what happens in their first year or so of life is going to affect that and who they are and how they view things. And I think people forget about that aspect when they think about paid maternity time off and things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crucial time to create, the building blocks of human life, and a next generation of people that are going to contribute to society. You can't push that aside. You can't ignore that just for the bottom line. I think that's a really short-sighted way to operate.
Definitely.
And there are ways, we've seen it with a few rooms. Genji Cohen often has a nursery in her office. Crazy Ex-Girlfriend's famous for having a baby room. There are ways to make it friendly for writers. I know Gurney Productions, which is a reality house, they had a bunch of female editors that had just had kids, so they created a nursery in one of their edit bays. And people are really responsive to that, and they stay. You're gonna get a bunch of loyal, very good employees who work hard and can juggle everything because they're doing it all at that moment.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And I think, in an industry that's trying so hard to prove itself as diverse and women friendly and trying to expand on roles of, you can't come with that and say, hey, we want to hire you, we want to hire women, we want to do, but you can't get pregnant or you can't take time off. I mean, it doesn't work like that. It's never going to work like that. So, if you're going to be... No, go ahead.
I think we're seeing it on all industries. We have people like Paul Ryan saying, like, look, women have to have more babies. We're not having enough babies. And yet we're seeing, we're not seeing that support, the social support to have those children.
Exactly.
And so if it's kind of, we're in that damned if you do, damned if you don't place.
Right.
Yeah.
Where
Exactly.
if in all industries, if we don't support women to have the children, and we don't give them that opportunity, well, then they're going to opt out.
Yep,
they're going to say, no thanks, and I just won't have kids, or I'm going to delay having kids. I'm going to freeze my eggs right now. And so we're going to see our society suffer because of that.
Right.
And also, I think then if you don't provide that support, and there are people that do have kids accidentally in a situation that might not be the greatest for a kid, you're setting up these kids for failure.
Yep.
Right.
Completely agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
So I tell you what, when is the panel? Because we have a lot of LA-based listeners. In fact, one of our largest listeners base is in LA. So let's tell everybody when it is and where it's at, and if they can get tickets to it, because we definitely want as many people to come out and support this as we can, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. So it's this Saturday, August 11th. It's at 2:00 in the afternoon, and it's at the Dynasty Typewriter, which is a theater within the Hayworth Theater.
Okay.
And you can get tickets on the Dynasty Typewriter website. I believe it's about $12 with surcharge if you buy in advance, and $15 at the door.
Mm-hmm.
And children are welcome.
Nice. Yeah, that would be pretty bad.
We're doing a panel about mothers, but bring no kids.
Okay, and we're like, yeah, you could bring your baby.
Yeah,
right,
bring your baby.
that's
Exactly.
fine.
That's funny.
Yeah, and so we're going to do a panel with our 4 women that work in the industry, and then open it up to questions and answers. We're also raffling off, or giving away a free raffle of Nell Scoville's signed novel, Just the Funny Parts.
Oh,
So she
awesome.
created 2 signed books
Very cool.
for the cause itself.
Well, that's
Nice.
fantastic. So,
Oh, yeah.
okay. Well, we're going to continue to share all of that information and continue to post all over our social media outlets. And this show airs on Friday night and immediately available after that on all of our outlets as far as Apple Podcast and Google. And so we're going to get the message out there before this weekend and really, hope to encourage people to go out there and go.
Hell yeah.
Great. Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is this is a motherhood in the industry panel, but let's not forget those fathers, and this is really a universal thing to create happier families in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
definitely.
And listen, we would love to have you back on after the panel and talk about the experience and how it went over and kind of hear, kind of what went down, because I mean, just from talking to you, I'm really excited about what you're trying to do and the movement that you're trying to create there. And I hope the very best. I hope that you guys can turn this into a series and continue to have some panels. I think that's fantastic.
Hell yeah.
And I really hope that that's what happens for you guys. And that it gets a lot of attention, because I think it's needed. And I couldn't think of a better guest to kick off our series about this topic. You've been just fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to be back on post panel, and I just appreciate it so much. You guys reaching out to me and bringing me on.
Of course.
You've created your own great community here. So
Yeah.
I would love to continue this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, of
Well, listen, we know we should tell viewers that you're probably. I hope you pulled over. I hope you're not driving. But
Are you doing like 80 right now?
a tunnel.
Right.
But yeah, listen. Thank you so much. I mean, coming straight out of a meeting and then taking this call and having this conversation with us and kind of doing everything. We greatly appreciate it. And we look forward to, like I said, having you back on, and we just wish you the absolute best luck with this. And we hope to be in touch with you soon, and we'll get you back on here and see what else we can do.
Sounds great.
All right. Well, you have a great rest of the day, and again, congratulations on your meeting. I hope that all works out and it's successful. And just thank you so much. You've been a wonderful guest, honestly.
All right. Well, yeah, thank you. This has been fantastic.
Well, thanks. So we'll be in touch soon. You be careful and have a great rest of the day now.
All right.
All right. You too. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's super important for society in general. People think about the degradation of the family, and they always talk about, there's a lot of talk about how the family system is falling apart, and they blame it on this and that. But really, if you think about it, a lot of it has to do with how families aren't supported, like she said, mothers and fathers, to take the time to embrace family and not see it as a negative thing in the workplace. There's a lot of statistics about how women immediately start to make and have opportunities for less money when they get married, and then when they have kids, it just goes down and down. And it shouldn't be that way. Like, how can we support a family without support for the family?
Right. And you always hear all the time about don't mix business with personal life. Well, when you're a woman, it kind of intertwines. It's what happens.
Yeah.
What happens.
So you have
That
to
goes
figure
back
out what
to
you're
the
going to do.
Damned if we do,
One of
damned
the
if we
other's going to
don't.
suffer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know, I think that people are focusing on the wrong things. People think that like divorce or living together without being married or things like that is what's breaking down families, instead of accepting that maybe the way that families are forming is just changing. It always has changed.
Yeah.
And blended families and families out of wedlock and things like that, that's not necessarily the problem, I don't think, personally. But anyway.
Right. No,
Yeah.
and I liked how she was able to bring so many different aspects of what's going on in the industry into this particular topic.
Hell yeah.
She brought up a really important point, and I guess it's not just for women, but for men and anybody trying to have a family. This is an industry where work is sporadic to begin with.
Yeah.
And if you are lucky enough to get on something that's consistent, she brought up a great point. And we've talked about this on the show before, where the seasons are being shortened and
Yeah.
writers who are used to working a whole year are now
Yeah.
being cut in half. So think about that. If you are a woman and you do, like she said, have to take half of schedule off already, how do you support your family?
Exactly.
And it's the same thing for men. You're being asked to support a family now, and you're going to be the one that's bringing in the money while she does take the time off. You're being cut, basically, like you're not going to be able to have that much money because we're cutting our episode cut. And same thing for actors who are working in the industry. you're only going to get 13 episodes now, not a full 22,
Right.
or whatever the case may be. I like how she was able to bring in different aspects of how it all plays out and affects
Hell yeah.
what you're trying to do when you're trying to raise a family. And I think she expanded on it much more just motherhood in Hollywood. It's raising a family in Hollywood. It's
Definitely.
got to be a difficult task.
Yeah.
yeah.
And especially, I'm sure for actresses, you know, who, like I've seen it a lot in different shows. I know they've done it in Parks and Rec and then on New Girl, where they had to creatively hide and rewrite episodes because the lead female is pregnant. You know what I mean? And so I imagine that can hurt your career. People thinking, well, I don't want to have to write around that or shoot around
Right.
that. You know, your
Right.
big old belly.
Yeah,
Agreed.
if you are lucky enough to be on something that's a continuous type thing, I mean, what do? They had the two choices: write you off or write around it. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
and that can absolutely. And unfortunately, I mean, there's been many a times where they're written off.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
your character's dying next week because
Right.
we can't, write around your pregnancy, and
Yeah.
that's unfortunate. But
Shit's crazy, man.
no, and
Yeah.
you bring in a good point though. If you are raising a family and you don't have a steady series or something that allows you to have these kind of set hours and go home, what about these people who are shooting films and you have a family, but you got to go spend the next 12 weeks in God knows where in whatever country or state shooting a film,
Yeah.
and you got your kids home 12 weeks without
Exactly.
their parent, or without their, what if it's time for school to start? I can't take this movie project because school starts next week
Right.
and I can't be gone for 12 weeks, or it's got to be a difficult thing to try to balance.
Yeah.
And there's so many people I think out there doing it or trying to do it without a nanny or
Yeah.
without and which brings up a good point, and let's have a conversation about this. What about the parents? Because you said you're criticized, damned if you do, damned if you don't. What about the people who do bring in the nanny? They're consistently attacked about, well, you're not really raising your kid.
Right.
Your nanny's raising your kid. You're not
Right.
spending any time with your kids. I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like it's again. It goes back to the damned if you do, damned if you don't. So
I bet Clint would be a good person to talk to about this.
Yeah,
Even though,
yeah.
he's not a single dad, but still, he's a working Hollywood
working-
industry dad.
Yeah, and spends time away from both his daughter and his wife.
Exactly.
And I kind of liken it to a military spouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clint is gone a majority of the time trying to book gigs and
Exactly.
provide for his family and do this craft that he does to provide that living, and that means spending great durations apart from the people that you love and are trying to do it for. And,
Exactly.
I mean, Clint would be a great feedback.
Well, I mean,
in-
current technology makes it easier for you to be present in there, but you can't be there. It's not the same.
Exactly.
It's like, but I mean, you could, unlike it was in the past where the technology
Right.
wasn't, you
Easier
just
than
were
it
not
was,
there at all.
yeah.
Like,
You just maybe
Easier
got a
than
letter
it
in the
was.
mail.
Right.
and
If you're
for
lucky.
us, doing these podcasts and doing the things, I'm glad she brought up technology because she's right. I mean, you can literally be in the writer's room without being there. You
Exactly.
just pull up Skype, you're in there, you can
Yeah.
be part of the conversation,
Right.
you can be typing away and email it immediately to them or whatever.
Exactly.
Why can't you be home raising your child and being a part of and be in the writer's
Exactly.
room? Technology allows that to happen, so that I feel like these companies that are not allowing that are just,
Yeah.
like I said, caveman era ignorant,
Yeah.
if you will. I mean,
It makes me think of that. What was that? I guess it was like a news report or something where this guy was in his home office and
Yes,
his
and the
daughter.
kid runs in or
the,
whatever.
the mom's
Yeah.
desperately trying to get both
Yeah.
of them. As soon as she gets
Yeah.
one, the other one's sneaking away.
That
She's
shit was
"No."
hilarious.
Absolutely, yeah. And that was like a hardcore, hard news interview
Yeah.
about Putin or something.
Yeah.
It's like, and
Something
she's like,
crazy,
oh my God.
yeah.
And that was hilarious.
Hell yeah.
But it happens. I mean, that's the way it is.
But nobody,
so.
I mean, I hope and doubt that his salary dropped or he wasn't
yeah.
able
Yeah.
to continue to work because of that. Because
Exactly.
And that's a great, because I want to say the guy that it happened to, the kid running in or whatever, was the foreign one. He was like the Russian person or whatever. It just shows you it's international. You know,
Yeah.
there's a guy in Russia that you don't think right away family friendly. Ooh, Russia kind of, you get this Putin, kind of stereotype. But here he is. Here comes mom running in trying to get the
Yeah.
kid because he's trying to do this interview. It's everywhere. It's important. It's relevant. And I mean, I'm so glad Diana came on to kick off this series with us and
Hell yeah.
talk about
Hell
it.
yeah.
And we're going to continue this series for everybody that's listening. Over the next few weeks, we're going to try to book some guests and continue to come at this issue from different areas. Hopefully we can get a producer on and an actor on and look at it from people working in different aspects of the industry and how they're dealing with
Definitely.
it. So we're really excited about that, and we want feedback. Let us know what you think.
All right.
Hey, Clint, we know you listen, buddy. If you give us some feedback, or maybe call in next time and let us know, what you think, and talk a little bit about what Tavia said and what you're kind of going through with the separation from your family while trying to be a working actor and everything. I think that's we don't need to limit this to just women.
Yeah,
it's a
parents
male
in the
issue as
industry.
well. Exactly, just parents in the industry. There you go.
Exactly.
So
I do hope that her friend that she was talking about trying to find a sperm donor, I hope she has good luck.
Oh my God.
Her
Yeah.
sperm
What
pops
What kind of
off.
screening process is that?
Exactly. Can we just talk about that for a second? First of all, what did she call it? Sperm cast or
Yeah.
something
Something like
That's
that.
like freaking brilliant, okay? And yeah, I mean, Jason brings up a good point. Are you interviewing potential sperm donors on the podcast and then kind of weeding out who you think might or might not be
Right.
good? I mean, what? I would love to have her on and just talk to her about that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe
let's
she has
talk.
like a
With
scale
this,
that she
like-
rates people on. How funny is he? How cute is his profile pic?
Right. Is he athletic? What was his GPA? I mean, what questions are being asked on Spermcast?
Right.
I mean, I want to know.
Do you
if
have any
she's listening-
PhDs?
right? If you're listening, come on our show. We want to know.
We're very
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah, we're
Right.
very curious. We're very curious.
Hell yeah, that shit's
That was
hilarious.
All
Oh
right.
man, back into industry news. Going back since we
Thank you,
'cause
Alvin.
we did not. Where are we at? We're probably at Donald Glover Deadpool.
Yeah,
we
that's
talked
what
about
we were
that.
talking about.
We were on
Did we
it.
talk about Batista yet?
Yeah, because he was talking about getting past if he wouldn't come back if Gunn's script wasn't made.
You're on Hollywood.
The Hollywood
And the
set to
fact-
remove
yeah.
Trump
Yeah,
star.
well,
Yes,
yeah.
Hollywood set to remove Trump's star.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, if that's not a political statement, I don't know what is. Because there's this whole supposed. I know it's not 100%, but there's this whole division between politics or the current politics in Hollywood. There's
Right.
this battle, I think, and Hollywood does have a history of being notoriously political and getting involved in all that stuff.
And liberal.
yeah, and liberal. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, let's just say what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not here to make opinions whether liberal or conservative or right or wrong. We're just saying fact is fact, and Hollywood tends to lean liberal, and they're not going to like Trump. I mean,
Exactly.
Yeah.
and at this point, I don't think many people do.
Yeah.
Hence his star being continuously vandalized.
Exactly.
So yeah, the topic is talking about Hollywood removing it. The apparently the Los Angeles City Council voted unanimously to have the star removed. And for people who aren't familiar with it, there's actually a committee that's responsible for the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and they're the ones who determine who's going to get a star and who isn't. They're the ones who reach out to the potential celebrities and make the offer. And by the way, I don't know if people are also familiar with this. The celebrity has to pay for the star.
Yeah.
They
pay to
actually
maintain
have
it.
to pay
You
to
have to
have the
maintain it,
star, put on there. That's why they're reached out by this committee, and if they agree to pay for it and want to do it, they do it. And if they don't, then they don't get the star.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I wonder how
so
much it
now,
costs.
It's, from what I understand, relatively pricey.
Yeah.
And could be the issue because this committee can't keep going back to Donald Trump and saying, you owe us, you owe us, you owe us. They're just having to continuously keep replacing this star. And at what
Yeah.
point do they say, enough is enough? Do we keep it? Maybe we bring it back after his run as president and people have moved past it? Or because right now, I can tell you, we were out there, Lil Cam and I, and it's a hindrance. It was the destruction, and it was so torn up that it wasn't just the star; it was an entire block of sidewalk, and they had it all, cordoned off and roped off. And while it was entertaining to take pictures of and everything, it was a hazard, and
Yeah.
it was causing backup around people not interested in it and trying to get around it. And how many times are they going to continue to do that and put it back? Is my thing.
Yeah.
I think they should wait until after the presidency too. I think that would probably be the smartest thing. Maybe repair it and leave it a blank star, and then put
Well, I mean,
the other one in later.
I don't,
if
as
you
I
want to.
was saying earlier, I don't know why he has a star, first of all.
Well, apparently because he agreed to pay for it.
I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it
There
was
you go.
self-congratulatory.
That's probably what it was. He just wanted one.
Yeah, he probably approached the committee.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I'll give you this much money.
Well, I mean,
Exactly.
aside from that, it's that they're going to issue reasons in the media about why they're doing it. It's like there's plenty of people that probably about women, his treatment of women and what I was like. There's plenty of people who on a Walk of Fame that treated women equally or worse
Yeah.
that still keep their stars. So
They still have their star. That's a valid point.
I just
Like,
wouldn't want to keep doing it because they just keep fucking it up.
well, I mean,
So
and
why
that's
pay
the
that
only
money?
reason to remove it. For
Exactly.
A, he doesn't really deserve one, and B, it's just an eyesore.
Yeah,
It's going to
yeah.
constantly
Despite him, fuck him. No,
Yeah.
you keep costing me money, so
Right.
we're gonna eliminate this.
How many
altogether.
other media? I mean, how many other real estate moguls? I don't even think real estate moguls in California have a
He has one because
of The Apprentice.
TV show.
Of The Apprentice.
Yeah.
And I think what people forget too is that he wasn't just the host of, or the celebrity on that show. He was also an executive producer along with Burnett Productions.
Right.
There was a Trump production.
Right.
Yeah.
He was involved in the producing and creation of that show.
Right, and he also
so-
owned he was an owner in the USFL. He has some entertainment credentials, but
Right.
not enough to
I would agree. I mean,
He's
they're-
got enough
they're-
money and enough entertainment credentials. He has enough money more than the entertainment
Right,
credentials.
right.
So that's why.
Okay,
Right.
but let me
Yeah,
just say,
like-
Robert Downey Jr. doesn't have a star.
Yeah, it's
Okay?
fucked up.
He doesn't?
If RDJ does not have a star and Trump does, we have a serious problem.
Agreed.
Will somebody please reach out to RDJ and offer that man a star?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Maybe he doesn't want to pay
Autumn-
for it.
Maybe he
offer him
doesn't,
Trump
but
star.
you
Yeah,
know.
Yeah, he can take
Well,
the Trump star.
Seriously, talking about somebody taking, there is a petition right now. Somebody put it out there, and they've started a petition to replace Trump's star with a star for Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Where is the Trump star?
vandalize Fisher's star.
Is
No,
it in
they're
front
not.
of anything?
Trump star is not too far away from the Chinese theater.
Oh, really?
On
Okay.
that side of the street.
Not like
It's
Marilyn
too
Monroe is in
far
front of a
away.
McDonald's.
Yeah, Marilyn Monroe just breaks my heart every time we go. She is in front of a McDonald's, and there's consistently homeless people laying on top of it.
Well, that's
and
because
just
it's
trying to move
visited
it, and
a lot.
It's just horrible. I will say this though: the idea of replacing his star with Carrie Fisher, I like the idea, but I don't think it would be in that location. I think that would become a blank star, and they would because I can imagine the family or the fans not wanting her next to Debbie Reynolds' star. I
Yeah.
think they're buried together. They're consistently united
Right.
together, and I
Definitely.
think that if it's not next to Debbie Reynolds, it's a huge disservice to where it should be. So, I mean, while
Well-
it's an interesting petition, I think if that's where it's going to go, that should
Are
be.
Eddie
Also-
Fisher and Debbie Reynolds near each other? Or
Or what?
Eddie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds near each other?
I saw
or-
Debbie Reynolds. I did not see Eddie
Eddie
Fisher.
Fisher, yeah.
So.
Well, I think too, though, that even though there's extremists and like crazy people on both sides, and I think if they did replace the Trump star with anybody, and instead of just like a blank star, then people on Trump's side are going to come and vandalize that one. I really do believe so, because people are that crazy, like I said, on both sides of
Yeah.
it, and it's not just one group of people that's willing to do things like that. So
that one Trump supporter in California will.
Yeah, in California.
I could probably bet there's more than one.
Yeah, sure.
Everybody's everywhere as far as politics and stuff. They like to generalize it and say these are blue states and these are red
Right.
states, but there's a little bit of everybody everywhere,
Everywhere.
and
Yeah.
including the crazies.
That's
Agreed.
Or they will drive to
you
California and
bring
do
up
it.
a good point, and then we'll kind of get off of politics here. But you bring up a valid point. There are extremists in both parties.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
And let's be honest about it. It isn't two parties anymore. It's a bigger than two party system. You do have Republicans and Democrats, but there's also a progressive movement. There's really three, and there are extremists and lunatics in all three fashions.
Oh, absolutely.
Of Republicans, Democrats, and progressives. And let's call it what it is. Everybody's got opinions, and everybody. You're right. There is no red or blue, or it's a mix.
Well, I think if you're not just talking about political parties, I think you're just talking about people. There's maniacs, and then there's normal people. And the maniacs are pretty much ruling everything in media.
Basically.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they should leave it blank. Personally, I think they should
I think
just
so, too,
repair it,
until-
leave
at
it
least
blank until
his run is over and people can move on. And yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
So anyway.
Anyway, next on the agenda, we haven't talked about Spotify yet.
Oh,
Spotify
Spotify.
specifically. Last week we were throwing around some theories about possibly them getting into the original content game, getting into the video service, because we were talking about how everybody's leaving. And the new chief executive who's big on video and content, all that stuff. And after the podcast, it was announced that they made a deal with Archie Comics for a 10-episode animated TV series.
Yeah.
And I was just like, mic drop, I win.
J-Lo did call it.
I did.
On last week's show, if you go back and listen, he did say that he thought, wouldn't it be interesting if they got into the original content television side of it? And sure enough, the very next day they announced it.
Boom.
And so congrats.
Thank
That
you,
was,
thank you.
People don't pay attention. You do pay attention to the industry.
Exactly.
You kind of know the trades.
Archie's kind of like having a moment right now, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and apparently this series is based on the new version of the Archie comics, same as the television show.
The Riverdale,
so it will be the darker,
grittier,
more grown-up, provocative Archie than, classic Archie comics.
Yeah.
Which
Interesting.
is interesting, because then it begs to differ. Or will the Archie cast voice it?
Yeah,
Will it be
exactly.
or is it going to be just completely separate? Or that's going to be interesting.
Hell yeah.
And leading into it, you brought up a good point. I think that maybe they're making this transition, and maybe they're kind of poking around in some original content and streaming type stuff, because people are fleeing Spotify. Music people and music, is fleeing Spotify at just a ridiculous rate.
Exactly.
And I think somebody there was smart enough to go, if we're going to survive, we better get into something else, because otherwise, they just went public.
Yeah.
They went public and everybody started fleeing.
Exactly.
So it's like...
Well, even more so, it was announced this week that Warner Music sold the rest of its stock in Spotify, which was a lot, which we think they're just going to start their own streaming service, which would make sense.
Because that's what everyone does.
Exactly. Just like everybody. So this is something that I was thinking about and wanted to bring up today. What do you guys think is more important, streaming music or streaming TV and film? Yeah, because a lot's going on.
Film for me.
You think so?
Yeah. Well, at least for me.
Well,
Yeah.
and
I like the music I like, and I want to hear what as
Right.
far as streaming, it's like I just want to hear what I want to hear.
Right.
yeah.
So
when I want to hear it.
right, exactly. When you want to hear it. So that's the thing. Do you feel like you watch the streaming film more? Or do you feel like you listen to the streaming music more?
Because I think one of the differences too is that for a lot of the streaming TV and film services now, especially, they're starting to create their own content to go on it. Spotify's not making music to stream; they're getting music from artists.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that's kind of what makes it a little bit different
That,
too.
yeah,
different beast.
agreed.
Well, and that's an interesting point of view too, because I think I have who it was right, but I want to say it was Tim Cook. But I do remember reading an article today that and I'm fairly certain it was Tim Cook.
About streaming music?
And how he thinks that humanity is being removed from music.
Yep.
Like they're basically,
Because
like you
of it.
just said, they're literally creating music just to stream. And his comment was basically, we're losing the human touch of it. We're losing the humanity side of making music.
I saw that same
just so
article.
we can have content to stream.
Right.
And
I can kind of see that. Like I know I've made jokes at work and stuff before, where somebody will come up with something stupid that they'll say to a rhythm and be like, "That's a new hit song," and it's like it probably could be if you really had the
exactly right.
Like,
you come up with a catchy line, you auto tune it, and you play it 35 times in a row. It's a
there it
song.
Yeah.
And we see it every day.
Basically.
So I mean,
Auto-tune.
Yeah, and you get all these artists now that are just releasing like these double albums or these hour and a half album, because which song is going to hit? So
Right.
they're just releasing so many songs, so
Right.
they have more of a better chance of a song hitting.
And on the opposite side of that, you're seeing some artists, I think, who are tired of the process.
Yeah.
Like Panic, whose album is what, 7 songs, 6 songs?
It's
Yeah.
like 11.
Yeah, I mean, where you used to get a whole, now they're just like, oh, here's a couple. And because they're tired
Right.
of whatever the hoops they have to try to go through to.
In music industry is not really my bag, but to look at the way things. I mean, you probably have more of a follow up on it than I do, but like the way things are being way things are being gauged of what's popular and what's not is so far different now than it was so simpler before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
You
so
bought an album, it was popular.
Exactly. Well, there's just music everywhere, and there's just so much different streaming things,
Right.
and that's what I think it is. So many people are into this quote-unquote SoundCloud rap, where you can basically record your own song and produce it and then put it up on this service, and if people like it, it'll just take off, and then you just transfer that over to music or
Right.
Apple Music, and
Right.
Yep.
it just builds and builds. It's like a ladder effect, but yeah, it's really crazy right now.
Which I would assume a lot of these record companies, which is why they're probably pulling out of all this stuff, don't like that, because
No,
if you're
yeah.
creating the music yourself on SoundCloud and it hits, and then you put it up on Apple Music, and you're eliminating the need
The
for the
middleman.
record company, and they're not
Exactly.
getting any revenue or royalties. And
if you're a record company, you hear one of these SoundCloud things, then wouldn't that be a benefit to you to know who to sign?
Yeah,
that-
you
that-
would
that
think
thing-
so, but
Right.
you can. It shows that the artist can do it themselves.
Right.
why would they
Yeah.
sign with?
Well,
a
I mean,
record
their
label
pitch to
that's
them-
going to take a chunk of their money when
Right.
they can just do
Their
it
pitch to them
themselves.
was like, "We'll give you X amount of money to do this in a more to kind of make the quality of it better.
And maybe somebody lesser skilled would fall for that, but
Yeah.
then also those type deals go, we're going to give you this giant chunk of money and make you rich,
But we're gonna take
also
all
gonna
your
buy
rights.
all the rights.
Exactly.
And so
Well,
when
yeah.
it continues to make a shit ton of money and you're poor again,
Yeah.
we own it. Too
Right.
bad.
Yeah.
Whereas
well,
when
that's
they're doing it,
largely that's
SoundCloud
been the
and
problem in the
themselves-
music industry for eons.
Right.
Yeah.
But these guys that are doing it on SoundCloud and doing it themselves, they're keeping all that money.
Unless
and
you
if
like-
somebody samples it, or if somebody replays it, or if somebody covers it, they get the money.
Unless
So-
you're like
Exactly.
Ray Charles, it's like, yeah, I want my masters.
Right,
It's like, I want
exactly.
to control everything.
Well,
So-
for example of that, Chance the Rapper, he is an independent artist at the moment, and he started off on SoundCloud. Now he has his own deal with Apple Music, so
Right.
he can just directly give it to them, and it streams, and he gets all that money.
Well, I think one of the best things that happened for Apple Music is when Jimmy and Dre
Mhm.
came in,
Yeah.
and because they
Definitely.
understand the business.
Yeah.
Right.
It wasn't Apple understood streaming, Apple understood content,
Mm-hmm.
but these guys understand the business, and they are able to sign people and do it the right way and aren't going to screw
Exactly.
because they both kind of came up through knowing that process.
Yeah,
So that's the
agreed.
best thing that happened. As far as your question, I think I like to think I'm equal. You know, I think I
Between
kind of
both?
stream my movies and television as much as I stream my music. I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of Apple Music
I am
and
too.
use it consistently, but I'm also right there on Netflix and
Every
Hulu and all
day.
the streamers.
Yeah.
So
I'm
I mean,
I'm still kind of I'm
Towards the film.
I'm,
TV.
well, I mean, as far as music is concerned, I'm more. It's not exactly analog, but I'm still kind of early in the digital. Like I got a freaking iPod, and
right.
right.
and I'll just put it on shuffle, so I don't
Better
know
than
what's
the
coming next.
Zune.
That
Yeah.
is that's
Right.
true.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry,
So,
sound guy.
Before we move on to a different topic or whatever, I think this is a great time to do this week's top five.
This week's
Oh.
top
Because
five.
this week's top five deals with music.
It does.
And
That
it's
is right.
our top five favorite bands and or slash singers.
Yes.
And or slash.
And or slash. That's right. Maybe slash is on there. You don't know.
You never
You
know.
don't
This
know.
is really tough.
Yeah, it was
was.
a tough one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
I'm-
lie, it was a tough one.
I'm not even really a fan of many artists so much as I'm fans of songs. There'd be an artist out there that I can't stand, but I like a song by him.
J-Lo, can you notch that down that Jason does not try to book music guests?
I got you.
I hated
I'm
everything
not
else
really
you
a fan
did.
of anything you do. Would you like to come on the show?
I like that one song.
Well, I'm not being
I hate
specific.
everything else.
Just messing with you, bro.
That's hilarious.
Because I could be pretty outspoken about certain
certain people.
Yeah,
And certain
absolutely.
acts.
Certain people.
Yeah.
Well,
All right,
anyway,
so-
ladies first.
Yeah, ladies first.
Oh shoot.
Oh, shoot.
Had a lot to say about motherhood, but
Do you
can't name
need
a
the
band.
other? Do you need the other lady to go first?
Sure, other lady
Okay.
go first.
Okay, so I kind of did my list just based on like what I listen to the most. So I'm gonna start at number 5 this time because I was the only one last week who started at number 1 and went down. So, all right. So for
Little Kim
number,
all about starting at the top.
No.
right.
You got to work to the top.
damn right, I started top. No. Okay. So for number 5, I put Imagine Dragons.
Very nice.
Because,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I've been listening to them more often lately.
They put on a hell of a show live.
They do. They're
do.
really good live.
They do.
And then I go like full 180 for number 4 because I put Eminem. Because I love
There you
Eminem.
go.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Red Hot Chili Peppers, Nirvana, Pretty Reckless.
Very nice.
We have to stop doing this.
Okay.
There's a couple on there that are on my list. Emily.
Again,
We are
Emily
related.
just gave you.
Yeah, we
Well,
are
Neil
related.
Diamond wasn't on it or anything,
We are related.
We are related.
or Harry Connick, or I'm sorry, I'm doing his top 5. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you're basically doing his list. Stop
Yeah.
talking.
Like, man.
No.
Tavia,
Yeah.
are you
Uh,
ready?
Yeah.
So I really don't have an order for these, and they are all over the place. And sorry.
No, that's fair.
Regina Spektor,
Very nice.
I really love her.
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin, of course.
Yes.
Robert Plant
Oh,
is.
yes.
Right.
Forgot
I
about
love
Led
Robert
Zeppelin.
Plant. Justin Timberlake.
Yeah.
I can't
Well,
help
of course.
it.
How
I
can
can't
you
help
not?
it.
I mean,
Exactly.
I try. Part of me wanted to not like him for a while. Just I don't even know why, but I
You're
just
like, I
gave in.
can't do it.
The Temptations.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And Aretha Franklin because I love
Yeah.
a lot of older music.
Yeah, no, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
And Aretha's got them pipes.
Yes.
That's it.
Very
that's
nice.
it.
Very nice. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Go for it.
You want me to do it?
If you
All
want.
And these are in no particular order either. I definitely would agree with the Pretty Reckless. I love the Pretty Reckless and Taylor Momsen. I think they're just cutting edge and they're different and they're unique and they're kind of doing their own take on rock and roll.
And they're great live too.
They're phenomenal live. So shout out to Taylor Momsen and Pretty Reckless. I think they're fantastic. Come on the show, Taylor, and bring everybody. I mean, they're huge comic book fans. They're huge. I mean, bet we could talk about all kinds of stuff with them. And then of course, I can't. The Beatles.
Yeah.
I freaking love the Beatles. Who doesn't love the Beatles?
Yeah.
I mean,
damn it.
I know.
Right?
There's so many. How can you not? Right? I mean, like you can't not. Okay, so yeah, Pretty Reckless, the Beatles, the Red Hot Chili Peppers,
Very nice.
Guns N' Roses, and Fleetwood Mac / Stevie Nicks.
I feel you.
The ultimate. I'm sorry, but Stevie Nicks to me is the best female singer voice. Just you immediately know who it is. She's never off. Everything she does is like just.
Did you see her in American Horror Story?
Yes, and she's coming back.
You liked that?
I did. I said singer.
She was like dead in the eyes. I don't know what was wrong.
I said
Something.
singer, an actor. Or
She was singing.
I know. I really do think it had whatever weird twist for the show.
Yeah.
But I mean, Fleetwood.
Isn't it about
But yeah, I
witches
get it.
too?
I get
or-
it.
Yeah, Fleetwood Mac / Stevie Nicks, and
Especially back in the day, whenever there was.
oh my gosh,
yeah,
they're just like
when they were
spot
still
on.
on acid and all that
And,
stuff.
all
yeah,
that shit.
yeah, and they were all sleeping together. And
All the
all-
good
Except for
drugs.
Mick, nobody.
Yeah.
Mick was just over there. And
Yeah.
No,
That's
Mick
fine.
and Stevie had a little.
oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he
Anyway, and yes, I will say it. Harry Connick Jr. I love Harry Connick Jr. I'm a
like-
big jazz
it's
fan.
like 10.
Yeah, a big jazz fan. I
You're
think
cut off
he's-
at 5.
We're only supposed to do
I
5.
thought that was like 6. Maybe
was
7.
only
if
like
you-
8.
Yeah, maybe-
Oh my god.
yeah, that's my top 5. plus a
Whatever.
few.
Logan
Yeah.
and
There you
Jason's
go.
turn now. Stop
All right.
talking.
All right.
Oh my
I
goodness.
like everybody,
All
man.
right.
So funny.
If I
Snoop
base,
Dogg, NWA.
like I'm basing this on people that I just like listen. I like everything they do, and
Yeah.
God, the Beatles aren't on my list, but I do like a lot of their
Yeah.
stuff. But I have to change it up a little bit because she dropped one that I completely forgot about. I'm saying number 5. I like The Weeknd. I like
He's awesome.
pretty much
Yeah.
all of his stuff.
The nowadays Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
or Prince.
Yeah.
but
Exactly.
Or Bruno. I thought Bruno
Oh
Mars
my
was like
God,
the
Prince.
nowadays.
Bruno Mars
Jackson.
just got dropped out because I had to
Okay.
add one just
Yeah.
now.
Can I
'cause-
just add Prince to my
Yeah.
ever ongoing list?
Yeah,
No,
you're ever
I gotta
on
add
those.
Bruno Mars to mine too, so it's
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Well, I just dropped Bruno Mars for mine because I just.
Well, I'll pick it up.
I'm picking up what you
I
dropped.
mean, although I do like Bruno Mars, but I would say number 4 would probably be it's a group called Royal Blood. They're from England.
Okay.
I like a lot of the stuff they do. Led Zeppelin's going to be number 3.
Yeah.
It's probably I mean, I like a lot of older stuff,
Yeah,
but
me
that's just the
too.
one thing.
Shit, that just brings up
You're like, oh my god.
Queen, yeah.
Queen and Freddie Mercury.
I was surprised you did.
Number 2 would be Tupac. I think he's just probably
Yeah.
the most
I feel
gifted rapper, and I mean, there's dozens more. I've listened to rap a lot anyway. Number 1's it's gonna be kind of funny, but I've always liked him ever since I was little. Is New Edition.
There you go. Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
With Johnny Gill or without Johnny Gill?
All of them.
All, it didn't matter.
They're
Didn't
going
matter.
way
Okay.
back to Cool
Yeah,
It Now
okay.
and
All right.
to
Hell
their
yeah.
last album. Like
funny.
New Edition.
Hell
That's number
yeah.
1. That's
Yes, I
always.
said Johnny Gill.
See,
Okay.
see, wait, but
Right.
the funny thing was like I didn't really have a top 5. I just had a 1. That's like
Right.
my favorite of all time. is
Yeah,
New
you're like,
Edition.
right there. Boom. Well, I didn't
Tears on his
know.
pillow, bro.
I didn't know we were incorporating rappers. What the hell?
I mean, their music.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
music.
Rap
I'm just
singers.
gonna give a nice shout out to Biggie Smalls, Tupac, Eminem, those
Brooklyn
type
in the
of guys.
house?
Jay-Z,
NWA,
yeah, all
Run
of them.
DMC.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
there-
Now I
there's
gotta
just
add
so
Crisscross
many.
to my list.
Right,
Jump, yes.
Marky Mark and the
I'm wearing my
Funky
shirts
Bunch.
backwards right now. Like you don't know.
Gong.
Oh my goodness! But I did strictly singers. Just these guys' voices like are phenomenal to me, and they always give me goosebumps every time I listen to like a certain song or something like that. Jack Johnson, very mellow, very easy to listen to. I can listen to him.
Plays a great Elvis too.
Yes. Oh my
You
goodness.
didn't say Elvis.
Shit, Elvis Costello and Elvis Presley. Shit.
Yeah. Like
All right.
number 4, Bob Dylan. I love
Yes.
that. Oh, I love it. Number 3, Elton John. Number 2, Dave Matthews. He has a voice that no one else can match. I actually just saw a video with John Mayer trying to sound like Dave Matthews, and John Mayer's a good singer, but he could not do it.
I'll tell you who's real close, though, and even Dave Matthews said it, and they even did something together. Jimmy Fallon.
Oh,
He's good
shit.
at imitating everybody.
Yeah.
He does a fantastic.
He
He
can do
does
almost
this
anybody.
infomercial that's like selling. I forget what product, but he does it as Dave Matthews.
Yeah.
Dave Matthews loved it so much he came on and did it with it. It's
Oh,
freaking
shit.
phenomenal.
I
bro.
gotta find
Yeah,
that.
you gotta find
Jimmy
it.
Fallon's good.
It
Yeah,
is.
Jimmy Fallon's awesome. And number 1, Kurt Cobain.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
Yeah.
Nirvana. I mean, how can you
Nirvana.
not put
Yeah.
Nirvana? But
Exactly. That's like.
I mean, if this
No
were like,
women
if
on
this
the
were more
list.
specific, like, what's your favorite
Logan.
rapper? What's your favorite rock
Bismarcky.
band? Well, my first one was going to be Cardi B. Yeah.
got what I need.
Oh,
Yeah, my number one is Cardi B.
Cardi
Yeah,
B.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Fucking hate Cardi B.
How many times did we hear that on the trip to LA?
How is she famous?
Yeah, exactly. Goodness.
Who's buying her shit? I'm sorry, maybe
Oh,
somebody else.
goodness.
Anyway.
Cardiovascular people are buying her stuff,
Yeah.
mistaking it for whatever.
Oh,
Anyway.
Back to industry news. Fucking Moviepass. We haven't talked
Oh
about
my
Moviepass.
hurt feelings.
Hurt feelings. Okay, so if you watched our latest video of Is It Worth It, which is available on our website, crazyantfilms.com, and on YouTube, we gave a nice little review. We're not happy with the situation because of all the shit that's going down.
Not
but
happy as being generous.
yeah, but
Yeah.
ever since that video came out, they took back the peak pricing. They took back the $15 a month. It's now $10 a month, but you can only see 3 movies in that month. And they're still taking down the blockbuster films. You still can't see those.
So you can't
So is it
even
worth
see-
it's going to be like relegated to like
everything.
No. But like what he just said, you can't. It's not. You can see 3 movies a month. You can see limited 3 movies
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
month because you can't even choose any movie.
Exactly.
Have y'all even gotten to see the new Mission Impossible yet?
No, it's still
Shit.
blocked out.
Yeah.
I've
So,
seen it before,
yeah.
y'all. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
I did see it though. It was good.
And
Was it
yeah,
good?
It's good.
here's
is it worth it?
here's the
I
problem.
think so.
Tavia says it's worth it.
Yeah, and here's the problem.
Spoilers? No, I'm kidding.
First of all, I'm sure I speak for J-Lo also. Thank you, because we have gotten a ton of interaction on our Is It Worth It video. Apparently,
For
there's
that.
a lot of people out there with us that are fucking pissed off at Moviepass. Yeah. And we've been on Twitter on our Is It Worth It video. We've been getting a whole bunch of play back
Yeah.
and forth. We're with you. We feel you. We're right there with you. Let me say, and I can't not be more serious, so I hope they're listening to me, because I am wholeheartedly, I can assure you I can find an attorney that will do it. I signed up for $9.95 a month, and that meant a movie a day, every day, any movie I wanted, at any time I wanted during the day that was available. That's not what I have.
Nope.
And they're still taking my $10 a month. And I don't think that that's right. They keep punishing, we've said this, punishing the subscriber for their mistakes.
For being human beings?
For going to do, for utilizing it. And I am seriously considering a class action lawsuit. Because
That's how angry we are.
That's how angry I am. I know there's probably a shit ton of fellow Moviepass subscribers out there that would join quickly into that class action lawsuit. And if they think they're broke now, I'm just saying.
I'm proud to say that I still have my $10 a month because I never invested in it.
Listen,
I'll just go see a movie like everyone else.
No, but here's the crazy thing. I'm glad you brought up investing in it, because
well,
they have no money. Okay, there's the last I checked, their stock price. Fuck it, let's look right now.
It's like a cent.
I still like Chris's
Like,
idea, Soundman's idea. I
No,
still think
yeah.
it's brilliant.
Tiered
Yeah, and we're gonna
But
talk about
probably
that.
for new.
Oh Jesus!
people.
Yeah, it's at its lowest point ever. 68 cents a share. 60. They're barely above 50 cents.
Yeah.
All right.
Dodge the bullet there.
Yeah.
So
Or 9 bullets.
You're right.
Yeah.
We loved Chris's idea
Pass it.
last week with the tier pricing and stuff. We mentioned this in Is It Worth It also. There are viable options to save this subscription and give the people what they paid
Exactly.
for. They're not doing it. They're not even entertaining it. They're not listening. They're not doing it. And here's the crazy part. They are broke 68 cents a share, people. 68 cents a share. They have no money. They just announced they signed Bruce Willis, and they're moving forward with making their first Moviepass film.
Yeah, there's
With
on this feature
what?
film endeavor. Like,
What are you paying Bruce
Like,
Willis
bits?
in tickets? Because, like, I mean, no, it can't be that because
Exactly.
they won't give you tickets because you can't pay
Exactly.
for
They
them.
must have had to
So-
borrow some money, probably.
Well, I
You can
mean,
go see the Bruce Willis movie when it's made.
yeah, can you though? Because you know,
you never know.
maybe not. It'll be blocked out.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
can't see this one.
Fuck him, bitches.
But yeah, no, I mean, like, why? I get it. You know, they signed with Furlaw Films. You know,
Yeah.
Emmett and Furlaw, and they turned it into Moviepass Films or whatever. But I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
You know, what are they thinking?
Right.
You have no money. Don't.
It's fucking
and you know,
stupid.
it's hilarious to me because, and we talked about this. And is it worth it? Use the numbers, man. Use the numbers.
Exactly.
They proved their point that they can drive people to the theaters. They are not lying about that. People with Moviepass are going to see movies, and they are bringing a lot of business. In fact, Cinemark just announced that they saw increase in their numbers in the last quarter.
Exactly.
Well, oddly enough,
I get-
Moviepass showed that they increased patrons
Yeah.
in the last quarter.
I get the impression at the very beginning of it all, it was just kind of like, hey, I got an idea. Let's
That's how
just
it
like
was.
Don't blame the green plant.
That's
No.
right.
It is not
That-
Leaves are the
marijuana's
answer,
Leaves
bro.
are
fault.
the
No.
answer,
Yeah.
not the problem.
It is not Mary
I'm
Jane's
just saying they're
fault.
high.
That's right. It's not Mary Jane's fault.
I think they were high.
I
Yeah,
think
no.
Mitch
I
Lowe.
think it's a guy who has, and I'm just going to call him out. I mean, I'm just going to say it. I think that the CEO is an executive who has consistently failed everywhere he's ever been.
Basically.
and he's
Really
not,
call him out, though.
He's not the guy. He's not the guy. No, we don't know.
Well, then
Then
not gonna- when
you just negated
We
saying
know
I'm going
who
to call
he
him
is.
out.
He's pretty much on every Twitter feed everywhere.
I'm gonna
Everybody
call him
knows
out,
who
but
he
I'm not
is.
gonna
Yeah,
call him
he
out.
ran out of Netflix and somewhere else.
Yeah, like, basically-
Well, when you do your lawsuit, you should have the negotiations that you run Moviepass. That's
Yeah.
when you
Well,
win.
I'm just saying.
You
Listen,
give-
if you're really serious about saving it, if you're
Yeah.
really serious about trying to do things, show your. I bet the subscribers lighten up a whole lot, and maybe even go along with the 3 movies a month for the $9 or $10. If you can show you're serious about fixing it and saving it, and that
Exactly.
means bringing in a CEO that knows how to run it.
Definitely.
And I mean, if you're sticking behind this guy and you're doing these things, you're just saying to your subscribers that you're okay with him pissing on it every day,
Basically.
and like changing it every other week,
Basically.
And I feel like if you want it to survive and you want your subscribers to stay with you, do something to
Do
save
something
it
else.
and make a move to show you're serious.
Exactly.
Because otherwise, I think it's dead, and I think it's going to go away real quick.
Agreed.
So
Thought
Agreed.
that a long time ago.
well, we shall see.
Yeah, we shall see. And Disney is looking to start their streaming service. They're not going to use Hulu, it sounds like. They're looking to start that spring 2019. Is
Yeah.
that what that said?
Oh.
It said late 2019.
Yeah.
I think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And here's why though, because we've
Think my
talked
camera
about
turned
this
off.
a lot. We've talked about this a lot about whether they would use Hulu or not. And the reason that they're not going to use Hulu is because Iger made it sound like Hulu would be their avenue for their 20th Century Fox content.
Right.
That they
Okay.
feel like they can
So-
keep it separate from the Disney brand. They can
Okay.
put the more controversial, R-rated, kind of dirty or grungy stuff on Hulu and use that as their outlet for that content and keep Disney as their strict
I do think
core
that's
family value.
smart.
It is.
I do think so.
I mean, so if that is indeed the plan, which it appears it is, that's a smart move. I
Yeah.
agree with you. I think that's a smart move.
Yeah.
And he made several interesting statements about the streaming service. He basically took another jab at Netflix, saying we don't need to be the in-your-face, full of content everywhere you see us. Here we are, kind of. He said we're not about that. We're going to start slow. We're going to build our content steady. We're not going to come at you everywhere with everything. And he said he's also aware that he knew going in that they wouldn't have all of their properties available, like some of the Marvel films and some of the Star Wars films, and that he's okay with letting those current contracts run their course with whoever they are before he gets them back. He did bring up, from Captain Marvel on, we've got all the Marvel stuff and the new Star Wars, and they're in the process of developing a huge slate of both Marvel and Star Wars content for the streaming service.
Exclusively for the service.
Exclusively. So, and I mean, he seems to have, I mean, he laid it out in the shareholder meeting. a solid plan as to how he's going to roll out the streaming service. Pricing tiers, it looks like it's going to come in at about $8.95 or $9.95 a month because they want to kind of keep it under Netflix for right now because it is going to be lesser content, which I think is a good introductory price. I mean, there's going to be a lot of loyal Disney fans that will pay $10 a month to have that content. So,
Hell yeah.
So there you go. It
There you
seems
go.
extremely interesting as to how Iger is going to roll that out.
Hell
So-
yeah. Well, I don't know if you guys saw Batwoman. Batwoman's
Batwoman.
coming to TV.
Yes.
Ruby Rose from Orange is the New Black. That's
Yes,
where I know her
she's-
from.
She's going to
She's
be
Batwoman?
Yep.
She's Batwoman, yeah.
That's cool.
Right? I
yeah.
feel like
Uh,
she looks perfect
Kate
for the
Kane.
part, at least.
Kate Kane.
Yeah.
And
Batman's
excited.
cousin.
Yes, and Batwoman. She's going.
It's going to be part of the
lesbian.
Arrowverse?
She is.
She's going to be a
I
lesbian.
mean, you can't have Ruby Rose and not have her be a lesbian.
Yeah,
Right.
no, and-
No,
Exactly.
she was made as a, they made her a lesbian.
she's a lesbian in the comic books,
Right.
and I think that's part of the reason why they're bringing it on is to be diverse. We are never going to see, by the way, Batman in the Arrowverse. However, the CW president did confirm that Batman does exist
Yeah.
in the Arrowverse. Hence why we're getting
So is Batwoman gonna? Yeah. So Batwoman's gonna be in the Arrowverse.
Yes, yeah.
Because Batman would have to exist if
Not
Batwoman
only
exists.
not only is Batwoman going
She's
to be in
family.
the Arrowverse, but they have said that while some of the shows are running up to the end of their contract, they have no intention of canceling any of the current CW Arrowverse shows, and they're in development of not just Batwoman but several more.
Yeah.
So that relationship with Berlanti and the Arrowverse, if you will, is going to continue for a long time to
Hell
come.
yeah.
Which begs the question, and I know we could talk about this real quick because I know we're running up hard here. Supergirl. They just announced that Supergirl is going to go film.
Yeah.
Why?
Like,
Why do
why?
they consistently keep taking characters that are kicking ass on television and get it exactly right on television and everything is rolling and say, "Oh, we're going to give you two versions.
Yeah,
Here's the film." They did
exactly.
it with fucking Flash.
Yeah.
They don't
They're
do
doing
that.
it with Joker. It
Yeah.
seems to be Warner Brothers' thing right now.
Let's give two versions of everybody.
Yeah.
It's like shit. Your Arrowverse characters
Yeah.
are kicking ass, and in my opinion, as a comic book nerd, they're spot on. The characters are right.
Yeah.
I keep
Fuck them up by doing a second version in the films that
Exactly.
aren't right.
I keep hoping that somebody in charge over there is going. It's like they got this really brilliant idea. It's like wait till they see this. They don't have any idea. I don't
I
think.
know.
I could maybe understand it if they took the TV people and put them
Right,
on film,
yeah,
and like maybe
right.
if they had a specific storyline that they wanted to show all at one time.
Grant
Right.
Gustin
bigger
is
than
a better Flash than
show.
Ezra
Yeah.
Miller is.
Yeah.
in my
No,
opinion.
I
you-
can understand that.
You called it, and I've said that countless times. If you want to fix the Warner Brother DC extended universe film thing and compete with Marvel, fucking bring the DC Arrowverse from TV into the movies.
Exactly.
Problem solved.
Or how about this? How about just make it TV? Just do the
I think
TV.
they
Don't
could
do
both.
movies.
Yeah, I
if
think
they if they brought the people that the fans already connected with and already like, then there'd be more incentive to go see it in theaters because they already like and know these characters and are already
Right.
involved in the whole universe. They can do just like Marvel does, where they have several different storylines and well, not universes, but several different characters and storylines that come together. And
Right, and
Definitely.
and almost all of the CW Arrowverse stars have said they're more than willing
Yeah.
to go into the movies.
Exactly.
So
Stephen
do
Amell.
it.
Stephen
Just do
Amell
it.
once was trying to I'll be in Justice League.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
I
I
Oh,
mean,
I'm over here.
who would turn that down? What
Right.
TV actor is going to be like, nah, I
And-
don't want to be in a
and-
blockbuster
and
movie?
I
forget
think
that-
Justice
Right.
League needs a Green Arrow.
Yeah, and forget Zack Snyder, forget whoever. Give it to Berlanti. He's proven he knows the characters. He's proven he can pull them off successfully. Give him the fucking DCEU and let him do
Exactly.
his thing.
Did Jeff Johns is gone now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you get the impression that maybe he knew what he was doing, and then some suits at Warner Brothers are going, "Yeah, we don't like that."
Yeah,
Like, but
no,
this will work.
Yeah, that's exactly the impression I got. But
Yeah.
anyway, I just think hand it to Berlanti, put the people in the films, and move on.
Yeah. Berlanti's awesome, man.
Yeah, he is. I mean, and by the way, he's making the transition into film. I mean, Love, Simon was a hit.
Exactly.
I mean, he's a prolific producer who's like just rocking and rolling right now. Let him do his thing, man.
Exactly. Last thing on our entertainment news, our industry news, Scarlett Johansson, transgender actor Alexandra Billings demands an apology from Johansson for taking that role.
Yeah.
No. Again, it all depends on your ability to play the part. So
Yeah.
it has nothing to do with her. She doesn't need to apologize for shit.
Well, she was producing it, and then
Yeah.
I guess, and they say that she cast it herself, and it's like, you know, where do you get the nerve to do? It's like, well, I mean, it's acting. First of all, what's next that's going to happen? Okay, is the trans community going to be mad that they're not getting jobs that are non-trans?
Never know. Like,
I mean,
they're painting themselves into a corner. You know, like non-trans people can't play trans people.
Yeah.
It was like,
well, and my thing is with this demanding the apology. I mean, while she did do it after the controversy broke, she did step away and kind of apologize. So isn't that her apology?
Exactly.
I'm stepping away. I'm not going to do the role. Right. I agree with the criticism, and I'm just
like
going to
And she was fine.
I mean, and she was fine. Isn't
exactly.
that kind of the apology?
Exactly.
I mean, like,
well, I mean, and like I said, later on, there's going to be like, there's going to be this big uproar about. I think there needs to be more non-trans roles that are available for trans actors.
Right.
Like, but thought you didn't want, you know?
Right.
It's like that doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Whatever.
Right. It is box office predictions time. Movies that are coming out this week: The Meg with Jason Statham.
Oh, yeah.
Statham. That one. Can't wait to go see that.
Box office predictions.
Yeah. I really like that. Can't wait to go see that one because that's going to be interesting. But we can't see it with Moviepass, at least not the first 2 weeks. So what the fuck? Another one that's coming out this week: Slender Man, another scary movie. Oh snap! What? Maybe
are there any scary movies anymore?
I don't know, man. I haven't been scared in like a long time from a film.
A really long time.
Yeah, and another one that I'm very, very, very excited to see, but I don't know if it's going to come here: The Black Klansman, Spike Lee's new movie with Adam Driver.
Really interesting.
I cannot wait to see that one whenever
I hope
we get
it comes
to.
here, and I'll tell you this: the marketing machine behind it was in full force in L.A.
Mm-hmm.
It was damn near every other billboard. It was on every other building, and they were pushing it hard in L.A.
That's
so
awesome.
Hopefully, it comes here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the last I saw, it was only on 1,500 screens, so I was like,
so maybe you can get it, you know, with Moviepass.
Yeah,
maybe it won't be one of those, you know, demand, whatever blacked out films.
Yeah, we shall see. We shall see.
No pun intended there.
And movies that are already out this week: Mission Impossible Fallout. Tavia says it's worth it. Christopher Robin and The Spy Who Dumped Me with Mila Kunis.
I've heard that Christopher Robin is not worth it.
That's what I heard too.
What everybody's saying, and the box office would agree with that.
Yeah,
it did not do well.
Exactly.
I've heard everything from he's a very quirky, grown-up Christopher Robin.
Yeah, I heard he was weird.
They're trying to go Hook with like Hook did with Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Something.
I
Stick
guess,
to the characters.
I mean, I've heard from several people that he's coming across creepy.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
that's what I heard too.
You kind of don't want Christopher Robin to be creepy.
No,
there
not
should
at
just
all.
be a
Maybe
movie.
He's stuck in his Danny Torrance mode or something.
Know.
You know, like
there should just be a movie about, you know, young Christopher Robin with the characters.
Well, and I think a lot of people are
action.
saying that the fact that they made them actually alive instead of just being part of his imagination is kind of counter to the whole story of Christopher Robin.
Well, they went with the stuffed animals approach, where they're his stuffed. I mean, instead of the imaginary approach, where they're actual animals.
Yeah,
right.
But
we shall see.
It didn't work.
Yeah. People are not responding well to it. But anyway, number one, I think, will be The Meg this weekend. Megalodon. Number two, I think Mission Impossible will come back and take that number 2 spot. The Meg, I think, it's going to be around 24 million. Number 2, Mission Impossible Fallout with around 15 million. Number 3, I think it's going to be around like 10 to 15 million, so that might be interesting.
Which one is it?
Slender Man.
Slender Man. Okay.
Yeah. Number 4, Christopher Robin with 10 million. Number 5, The Spy Who Dumped Me with 7 million.
Interesting.
Word.
Yeah.
I did
It's going to be a slow box office.
a word of the day, by the way.
Yeah.
La palabra del día.
I'm
Sorry, say again.
Yeah.
La palabra del día.
Okay.
It's the-
Interesting.
but even though this is actually a French word, and I'm speaking the wrong language, and I consider it a word. Some people might say it's a phrase, but it's mise en scène, which I know you know what that means, right?
No.
You don't?
Oh, snap.
It's a film
Teach us.
term. It means is an expression used to describe the design aspect of a theater or film production, which essentially means the visual theme or storytelling in both visual and artful ways through storyboarding, cinematography, and stage design, and poetically artful ways through direction.
Nice.
Shit.
all right.
Nice. Say it again.
Mise en scène. It's spelled
Mise en scène.
yeah, MISE-EN-SCENE.
Mise en scène. See, I mean, you're not
Exactly.
every day you learn something new.
Exactly.
Look at
That's
that.
non-stop learning
Great word of
process.
the day.
Was there
Yes,
were there
bravo.
any listeners in the numbers in France?
There might be
We
now.
do well in Europe, so maybe.
In Japan.
We'll get
Konnichiwa.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. But anyway, guys, that is our show for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in and getting a little crazy with us. We appreciate you. Make sure to follow us at all of our social media handles: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and our website. On Facebook, The Crazy Ant Film Company. On Twitter, Crazy Ant Films. On Instagram, Crazy_Ant_Films. And on YouTube, Crazy Ant Films. And our website, crazyantfilms.com. Yeah, that's right. And we'll be launching our store here soon.
Yeah.
So we're very excited about that. Go pick up some Crazy Ant merch. Is it worth it merch? Inside the Crazy Ant Farm merch. Just a whole bunch of shit,
Yeah,
guys.
just a whole bunch of
I
stuff.
cannot wait to get that started. And our next trip out to LA is really soon.
Yes,
Can't
26
wait to do
days.
that. Can't
26
wait.
days.
Oh my
We're
goodness.
excited. We got a lot of stuff going on out
Hell
there.
yeah, we have
we're
a
excited
lot
about
of stuff
that.
going on. We're staying crazy, man. But anyway, you guys stay crazy. You guys enjoy your weekend. Follow us everywhere. All that good shit. And Oprah.
Oprah.